Quick house,
This meeting is being recorded.
just a couple of quick housekeeping items. You probably heard a note that the meeting is being recorded, and it is. And the reason we're doing that is we want to be able to send out this recording to you after we're finished, so you can refer back to it, share it with family, friends, whoever might be able to benefit from the information that you're going to learn today. And as a friendly reminder, we're just going to ask that you stay on mute. We will have a Q&A session at the very end of the presenters that will be joining us today. And at that time, if you would like to, if you have a question and would like to present that, you can ask it live by taking yourself off mute, or you can type it in the chat, and one of our Lung Association staff will ask that question for you. So let's get things kicked off. During the session, you're going to be hearing from climbers across the Midwest. Those Fight for Air Climb leaders, they're going to share with you how they engage their coworkers, get creative online, and use existing tools to maximize their impact. So whether you've climbed once or you're a seasoned climber, you're going to leave the huddle today and take your fundraising to new heights. Our first speaker joining us is really going to focus on the topic of corporate engagement. And it is my pleasure to introduce Joel Tragesser from Indianapolis. Hi, Joel. Thanks for joining the huddle today.
Oh, of course. Thanks for having me. Welcome, everybody. Again, Joel Tragesser calling from Indy. I'm a trademark attorney at Quarles and Brady. It's a law firm. And I was introduced to the Lung Association from my law partner, Dan Long. So Dan Long is an asbestos attorney, and he was on the board, the local leadership board for the Indiana chapter of the Lung Association. And so I first climbed with him in 2012. So that was my first climb. I signed up, showed up, raised $100, went home, was really minor involvement. I think I was next year, I might have been at a town. And then the following year, Dan and I joined Quarles and Brady, or we helped open the office in Indiana. They have offices in Milwaukee and Chicago and elsewhere. And we went to a gala, and I met and married my wife, Kirsten. And you'll see a kid, there's not a photo of Kirsten I can point her out to, but, and during the gala, where a survivor of lung cancer spoke, Kirsten asked me if she should share with my colleagues at the table about her daughter, Maddie, who's pictured up in the screen here. And so Maddie had heart and lung issues. She was on the double transplant list at 4 months old. And because Kirsten kept such great care of Maddie, she lived almost to her third birthday. And I think the initial prognosis is maybe she would have lived for about a year. And so, of course, Kirsten shared that story. It was touching. And one of my colleagues, Vanessa, was the captain of our climb team. And Vanessa, who's a great team player, she asked me if Kirsten wouldn't mind if we climbed in memory of her daughter, Maddie. And Kirsten was honored by that. And we did that. And so our first climb with a new office was in 2015. And Dan Long had created a law firm challenge. So law firms could compete against each other who had raised the most. And our prior firm won the first year, and then we lost for 3 years. And Dan said, Joel, there's no way we're going to win this. We have a small office, a small team. Well, I said, well, with Maddie, the story of Maddie, and with Quarles and with Kirsten and my family, that first year in 2015, we had 27 team members, and we raised almost $12,000 to win that challenge. And a lot of it was because we just had a good story, a good reason. It's a fun event, great cause, and we had some support. The next year, in 2016, we had 66 people on our team. And I pretty much said, family, friends, clients, neighbors, contacts, enemies, anybody can climb. It's fun. Use a virtual climber option. And so we've had toddlers climb, and my great grandmother climbed at 92 years old, which is a good story in its of itself. And her story was when her father came back from World War I, he had some lung issues and was actually helped by the Lung Association almost 100 years ago. And as you will learn as you get involved with Lung Association, everybody has been impacted by some sort of lung disease, whether themselves, their family, friends. It's indiscriminate in how it affects. And so all the short of it is our team has climbed since 2015. This year will be our 13th climb. And our team, even though we're a small office, we've raised over $100,000 over that time. And so part of that is using the tools the Lung Association gives you to share on social media, to invite people to ask you about it. We have a launch lunch. We've had an open house. We've had events at local restaurants at the Lung Association. The ultimate event we had is for a couple years, the local hockey team gave us a link that allowed us to get 100% of the ticket sales used through that link. And so we would raise $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 just in selling hockey tickets. And everybody has fundraisers, whether it's a local restaurant, that car wash, and what's nice is you just have to do something that fits kind of what you're comfortable with, what your team might be comfortable with, the chapter. And one thing I do is I'm active on social media as well, whether it's Facebook, LinkedIn. People have the technology where you can just set up one in your participant center. It posts, people can click a link on Facebook. It goes towards your time or your climb fundraising total. And ultimately, it is a fun event. You heard the music being played at the outset on this meeting. When you get at the top of the skyscraper, it's a challenge, but there's music playing. You get a medal around your neck. It's exciting. And some of the pictures here on the left is that law firm challenge trophy. There's a plaque there of an article that we were able to get printed, an Indiana lawyer, to help promote others. Because ultimately, the law firm challenge, we want more people climbing, more people raising money. There's a photo of me in Lucas Oil Stadium. There's one team in the center. That's when in our office, another team outside Lucas Oil Stadium. And ultimately, as Kirsten says, this event allows her to honor Maddie, but it also allows her to, collect money and donations in her honor, ultimately to fund research and other programs so other people don't have to go through the experience that she did with her daughter.
Joel, that is an amazing story. I'm looking at some of the questions that I had prepped to ask you, and you've nailed it. I mean, what a great tribute and story. And I want to emphasize story. What you guys have done for corporate engagement, you've really grabbed a hold of that one story that you can share with others through your participant center, through engagements. And I think that's real important because it can amplify that fundraising that's coming when you've got that story to share, that others can then relate to, regardless of what that story might be, if it's a family member or friend. A couple of things that I wanted to touch on and get some more information from you. Third-party engagement. I thought that was really interesting and unique how you have went out to this hockey team and you have asked them to participate with you and partner with you. How did you go about getting that partnership to do this third-party fundraising?
Yeah, so that was it didn't happen all at once. One is I know the director of operations for the minor league team, and I asked him for silent auction donations for the gala for the Lung Association, and they would put together a ticket package, some pucks, and some bags. And so when I was picking one of those up, he said, "We have promotion games 2 or 3 times a year where we pick a charity. Would they be interested in doing that?" And I said, "I'm sure they would." So I brought it to Tanya and the Indiana chapter, said, "Be great." I pushed that more so than others. I was somewhat disappointed because I think we could have sold up to 1,000 tickets and we only sold maybe 250. But in 2018, and so the Indy Fuel is a minor league affiliate of the Chicago Blackhawks. But another thing they do is they put specialty sweaters on the players that will then wear them during the game and auction the sweaters off after the game. And in 2018, for the American Lung Association night, they actually wore American Lung Association sweaters. And I have a picture of one, but that was the ultimate to see. And when you go to a hockey game now, you'll see one of the season ticket holders wearing a Lung Association sweater. So it's something where use your existing relationships, think outside of the box. It helps them because they get more fans, they get more people in the stands buying meals at a game, and we get the exposure.
Very well said. And, I think that goes back to your topic here is corporate engagement. And what you're sharing with us is your law firm is committed. And so that has started from, that level of the commitment that it has broadened out to your staff, your family and friends, everyone that you're going after to really build out that corporate team structure and make this team of, in 2016, you had 66 climbers. I have no idea what your climber, how many climbers you had last year, but it has to be just continue to grow over the years. So I really congratulate you on your effort and what you've done. So just real quickly, if you could summarize, what are those top 3 tips that you would like to share to those who are leading corporate climb teams?
Well, I think the first is use the content and the tools that the Lung Association provides. You can either use, the messaging and the app. You just want to get the word out there and you want to maximize your time. I mean, if you have the time to email a lot of your friends and contacts, take that time, but you can spend pretty much one email, one message, share it on your social media, and you're getting a much larger effect with the minimal use of your time. And then also, as I mentioned, everybody's been impacted by lung disease. If you talk to the people that might be interested and ask them, how have you been impacted? And they can share that on their own story. Or if it's something where you think the entire team may want to come around that, then you share that. And, some people don't, maybe don't want to draw attention to themselves. But I've had other family and friends kind of create their own teams. And the team names are hilarious. If you get on there, I mean, they're really funny. And one thing that you can do is you can have team shirts. We've done team shirts before that we can wear. So that's the second is trying to have a story on why you're doing this. And the third is have fun. I mean, firefighters are doing it in full uniform. I had my son who is a cross country runner in high school. He did the power hour and climbed the skyscraper 6 times in an hour, and he almost barely broke a sweat. And if you decide to climb, it's not as if it's a sprint. And one little trick I have is if you need to catch your breath, just bring out your phone and take a picture of one of the signs and act like you're taking a picture, and then just get a lot of breaths in and then continue walking up. And that's something that it really can be a fun event. It's not about, some people want to compete about how fast they can climb, but otherwise it's just have fun, enjoy, and raise a lot of money for lung disease.
Joel, thank you so very much. Your insights are truly valuable, and I want to just give you a huge thank you for taking the time and putting all those thoughts together that others can take away and really help their fundraising efforts. So we're going to move into the second theme, and we're going to bring out fundraising on social media, because we all know social media is a big area and space that lots of people are spending time on. So why not, really lean into that audience? So our next speaker, as I said, is going to focus on the fundraising on social media. And it is my distinct pleasure to introduce everyone to Sheila Cassidy from Omaha. And I want to tell Sheila, thank you for joining us. And before we get into learning more about your approach, Sheila, if you would tell us a little bit about how long you've been participating in the climb and your connection to the Lung Association's mission.
2024 will be my 9th year. My first year I joined with my boyfriend. He was on team 27 before that. And my mom was diagnosed with lung cancer in 2015. And we started our own little team, just my boyfriend and I, in honor of my mom going through lung cancer. And we have added to our team every year, and we're hopefully up to, I think, 10 members possibly this year. So we keep adding to our team. My mother passed away in 2016 from lung cancer. And then my father has since passed away from lung cancer as well. So that's the reason why we do it.
Boy, thank you for sharing that. I know that that's got to be tough. And what a great story to share with others, and the awareness that you're bringing is very, very important. So tell us a little bit more about how you and your team, how you use Facebook to fundraise.
Last year, I think, was the first year that I used the actual Facebook fundraiser. And we probably at least doubled, maybe tripled our donations by using that function on Facebook. Before, I would always just post on my personal page, requesting donations from family and friends and coworkers and clients. And last year, I popped up that Facebook app and put it on my Facebook post, and more donations started rolling in. So we're definitely going to do that every year now. And I'm actually going to encourage my team members to do it as well, because it really helps our fundraising a lot. I personally post at least once a week. I've recommended that, you start early as soon as they announce the date of the registration for the following year and everything. I tell everybody to start posting early, and then as we get closer, I post at least once a week, sometimes a couple times a week. I'm sure some people on my Facebook get a little annoyed by me, but I'll post for the Facebook function. I do that for the fundraiser, and then I also post on my personal page just a message to all my family and friends. And then every time someone donates, I will put a personal message to that person and thank them for their donation.
Boy, and how powerful that is. Tripling your fundraising, double or tripling, just by using Facebook. What a testament to using social media that is.
Made a big difference.
I'm sorry, what was that?
It's made a big difference for sure.
Oh, 100%. I just from personal experience, there are so many times that it's quick and easy. So many times that something will come into my feed that is something I'm passionate about, or it's a good friend of mine that I want to support. And so, of course, I'm going to click on that link and provide support to that friend or that family member. And it's so easy to do.
Yeah.
And that's what I would want to stress is how you, when you sign up as a team member or an individual, how our system takes you through a very easy process. And it's a click of a button to share your fundraising on Facebook. Super
Yeah.
easy, highly encourage that.
Yeah.
So I would like to ask if you could share, Sheila, your top 2 tips to the climbers on this call today. What would that be?
I would say social media is number one. Just what I was speaking about with using the Facebook app. Post it as often as you want. As I said, as I get closer to the climb, I'll post it more often. That's also how we built a lot of our team is me stalking my friends on Facebook and trying to recruit them. My youngest son has joined our team and my nephew joined last year. And those, family members joining means a lot to me that they've joined. And this year I have a couple of coworkers that I coaxed into doing it. So we're all going to put it out on Facebook. One of my coworkers, her son's going to join her as well. So another way to push the donations is I really think that me personalizing my post on Facebook and then thanking every single person that sends me a donation. I always tag them on Facebook and thank them with a personal message from me. And I really think that that's made a difference as well.
Excellent. All of those are very powerful tools to use within social media. Sheila, thank you so much for sharing this valuable information regarding social media. Lots that we can learn and implement from that.
Yeah, thank you for having me today.
So our final speaker is going to focus on the topic of family and friends teams. This is a huge piece for our Fight for Air climb because we know that many people in our communities are impacted by lung disease and lung cancer, and they're coming together through these friends and family teams. So it is my pleasure to introduce Mandy Riley, who comes to us from Wisconsin. And welcome to the huddle, Mandy. Thank you so much for joining us. And I would love for you to start out similar to the other speakers. What's a little bit of background and what's your connection to the Fight for Air climb? How long have you been participating? And what's your connection to the Lung Association's mission?
Well, first, thank you for having me. I remember 10 years ago seeing a commercial for the Fight for Air climb, and I looked at my mom, who at the time had COPD, and I was like, maybe I should do that for you. And she looked at me and she goes, yeah, I would like to see that happen. Mm-hmm. So the next year, I made it my mission to do that. Had no idea what I was in for. I did it by myself, drove myself there, drove myself back, barely raised the $100, but I was hooked. And I knew from that moment on that this was definitely going to be something that was important to me. Since then, this will be my 9th one coming up in March, my 6th with a team, and my 7th as a top fundraiser. It will be my 5th in memory of my mom, who has since passed away. But for me, I love finding different ways to fundraise. A couple of ways that I've done it is I worked with a friend who made a nail polish in honor of my mom and made it purple, which was her favorite color. And we sold that, and she donated all of the proceeds from that to the climb. But what I'm probably most known for are these little bracelets called Manda bands. You can see. I sell hand stamped jewelry for $10 each, and I donate that entire $10 to my Fight for Air climb team. And the other thing I like to do is with my teams, we have a different theme every year, as you can probably see in the pictures. We've done different colors of the rainbow. We've done superheroes. We've done Christmas for my dear friend's mother who had passed away, who loved Christmas. We did 80s themed. We did Disney. And this year, we're actually doing a 90s themed team. The team name is always just a little different to represent that theme. In fact, this year's team is Step by Step in honor of the 90s. So I figure if we're going to do this and it's difficult and if we're going to be sweaty and huff up the stairs, we're going to have some fun doing it. So I'll put on the bright colors and the tutu, and just it really gets that team aspect of it going. It's a way for you to kind of rope your friends and family in so that they know that it's not just all hard work, that there definitely is fun with it.
I love all the pictures on this slide. You talk about fun, and you're exuding fun. And that's been a theme that we've been hearing from all three of our speakers is, make it fun. So I want to go back, Mandy, and learn a little bit more about the bracelets. I think that is a really cool idea. Do you promote those in any certain way as a fundraiser? Like, do you use social media?
Yes,
for
I
that? Okay.
I actually have a website that I've created, mandabands.com, and it's a way for friends to look at the items. It allows them to kind of hear more about my story, and give them something that they can share with their friends and family. So it kind of really passes the message along. And it's something that has really taken off more than I could have ever thought. And it's a way for me to kind of feel closer to my mom because she was a crafter. And in fact, one of my biggest orders was a order of 300 for a church group. And it was one of my favorite memories because my mom actually helped me with them. She helped me ink them and bend them. And it was kind of our thing. So now it's kind of cool to continue it onwards. But it's just thinking outside of the box and thinking of something that you don't see a lot of people have. And I'm the type that if I'm going to ask you for something, I want to be able to provide something for you. And it's also cool because if someone asks about it, they can talk about Manda Bands, they can talk about how they got it, why it went to a great cause. And every single one of them is absolutely customized. It's got different names. I've put Bible verses on it, different quotes. The word of the year is very popular this time of year. And I do that for a lot of different bands too. So that it's just a reminder for someone of something that is important to them. And it's cool because it's representing something that's important to me as well.
How creative, Mandy. That is a really, really nice way to honor your mother. I'm thinking I want to get your website link at some point. I'll have to circle back with our Wisconsin friends and see if I can get that. So good job. If you could summarize 2 of your top fundraising tips for the folks on the call, what would that be?
The first one would definitely be to think outside of the box because you will never know if something works until you do it. You kind of throw it at the wall and it doesn't work, or it could take off and be something great. And then the second one is to just put your heart into it. Explain why you're doing it. So often it's just easy to ask people for money, but when you're telling people why it's important to you, and if you're making it fun, make it so that they can't deny you.
Mhm. You want to be the person they can't say no to, right?
Exactly. And I mean, come on, look at these team pictures. We have a ton of fun too doing it.
That's fun. Oh, Mandy, thank you so much for all
Thank
of
you.
your insight and just sharing the fun that you're getting out of your friends and family team.
Thank you.
So that wraps up our 3 speakers, and we've touched on corporate, we've touched on social media, and we finished up with friends and family. So we're going to take a moment now to open it up for some questions that you all might have. So if you want to join in live, just take yourself off of mute and ask your question. Or if you prefer putting it in the chat, you can certainly do that as well. Anybody want to start us off? Well, all of the stories that we received have just been fabulous, and I appreciate all of that. I'm going to turn it over and keep thinking about some questions that you might have, but in the meantime, we're going to turn it over to Heather Johnson. She is our director, development director, excuse me, in Iowa, and she's going to go through some top 10 tips for climb success. Heather?
Thank you, Linda. Thanks. Just like Linda said, whether you've climbed for years or this is your first time on the stairs, these 10 tips are a great reminder of how to get ready for your climb. So tip number 1, it's pretty basic, but it's important. It's just ask and ask again. Ask a friend to join you who hasn't climbed before. Ask neighbors to donate. Asking is about the right place at the right time. So someone who said no last year might be a yes this year. Someone who said no to climbing might be a yes to making a donation or volunteering with you and your family. So don't be afraid to ask more than once and ask in different ways. Set your goals intentionally. Being purposeful about your fundraising goal can encourage people to contribute to your fundraising. They want to help you achieve that goal. So see how much you donate and move your goal around to see if you can raise more. Number 3, share your story. Like we heard from all of our volunteers today, sharing your story, why you climb, why it is important to you is the best way to get people to support you. And put that story on your personal fundraising page. Your local climb staff can help you share guides with you on how to update that fundraising page if you're not sure. Step number 4, step up your fundraising efforts by making a self-donation. Step number 5, or tip number 5, get social, make a Facebook fundraiser, just like Sheila shared. And I think actually all 3 of our climb volunteers mentioned fundraising on Facebook or social media. Number 6, download the Fight for Air Climb app. I love this one because there's a lot the app can do that you might not know about. You can fundraise via social media that's not Facebook, so you can connect it with your LinkedIn, connect it with your Snapchat, a ton of other social media sites. You can fundraise via text and send easy text to people in your address book with your personal page linked. You can collect donations via in-person, like via credit card in person. You can thank all of your donors personally, and you can track your steps as you train. So if you and your team are training together for the climb, you can set training goals and step tracking. Tip 7 is make a match. Check with your employer to see if they'll match your donation and encourage your donors to check with theirs as well, because their match can count towards your fundraising. Tip number 8, commemorate your milestone climb year with an alumni shirt or an alumni pin. Tip 9, honor and remember your loved ones by purchasing a stairwell sign. And then just like Joel mentioned, you can snap a photo with the sign before, after, or during your climb. And then our final tip is spread the Fight for Air Climb love by inviting a friend or family member to join you on the stairs. We don't want to climb alone. It's always more fun with friends and family members. So encourage them to climb with you and, really encourage them that they can do it too, just like you do.
Very good. Thank you so much for going through all of that. Very helpful tips, and don't feel like you have to take every one of these, but boy, this is a great starting place for all of you to kind of think about, what do you want to do next with your climb team and how do you get started? These are some great tools for you. Any questions now that you've had time to think about, some things, some questions? And I see one hand went up from Terry. Go ahead and ask your question, Terry.
Yes, so thank you to all of the speakers today. You were amazing. And Heather just reinforced this idea of sharing your stories. So I know all of you probably add your stories to your participant centers. But I'm just curious, especially from Sheila, when you talk about sharing your Facebook fundraiser, do you also add additional information about your story when you're putting that out on Facebook? And what might that look like for you? And maybe Mandy or Joel, you also want to add to that, but specifically when you're sharing that Facebook fundraiser, I'm curious what that looks like for you.
Yes, I have actually posted lots of pictures of my mother, our family, and I've told a story about her battle with lung cancer and the things that she's went through. And I think that that's really helped bring a lot of our family into the climb and support. We have lots of family and relatives that have supported our team from day one. So, but yeah, I love to share information about my mom and share pictures of her. And I think it brings more personal to it as well.
Sheila, thank you for sharing. Go ahead, Terry.
Oh, no, this is Mandy.
Okay, very good.
I just wanted to say that, yes, I kind of do the same thing, especially like on her birthday or on her angelversary, as I like to call it. I like to share something special. If I see a Facebook memory, I will share that along with my link. And I'm not sure if a lot of people know this, but you can also link your Facebook fundraiser to your Instagram. So if you go to my Instagram, you will see in my profile a link to that fundraiser. So it's constantly there. And you can also in your stories share the link for your profile or to your fundraiser. And also on specific posts, you can attach that to a fundraiser as well, which is something that I've done. If I do a really cool order of Manda bands, I will post a picture of that and then I will also attach the fundraiser to that. Or for instance, I got to do a really cool TV spot for the climb. And so that was another opportunity for me to share a picture as well as the fundraiser. So there are lots of ways to kind of share your fundraiser without making it blatantly obvious, which I think some people actually prefer. But again, there's definitely a way for you to share however you wish.
All good tips. Thank you for sharing that. And you're exactly right. That personal story is so important. Joel, you've come off mute. Do you want to share a few things?
Yeah, I have a couple of tips. I like the personal messages of thanks. One thing I do as well is I try when someone donates to the team as a captain, I get notified of that. I have a saved email that I thank them. I have a link to our team page. But what I've also do, and you can have your assistant do, is I have a Outlook distribution list. And so when someone joins the team or donates to the team, I add them to that. And so now when I send out an email inviting people to donate or join the team, I have 7-8 years of contacts that receive that, because some people may not be able to participate every year. But if it's, again, using the tricks of technology to make it easy for you to share messages. And if you want an idea of the message, I try to include pictures all the time because people like pictures. And I try to include a link to the page because that's where people can either join the team, donate to the team, or maybe even start their own team.
Very, very good point. And I want to just kind of call your attention over to the chat. You may have already noticed this, but Joel, thank you. You've put your LinkedIn link there. And if anyone would like to reach out to Joel for any of the items that he just mentioned, feel free to do that. He's provided that way to connect on LinkedIn. Any other questions or Julie, is there anything in the chat, questions in the chat that need to be brought forward?
I don't see any in the chat, but I kind of have one. So for all the speakers, how many times do you typically have to ask before you get folks to commit to donating? Is it, do you ask them more than once? Do you do it in a text, an email, social? What does that look like? And I'm sure it's different based on timing or who you're asking, but I often get asked that question and I'm wondering how you handle that.
So I'll start. I don't often make direct acts to a person, to one person. As Tanya, the executive director of Indiana, has said, I don't necessarily accept the answer no well. I just try to find different ways to ask or to understand, how it, why it would benefit them to support. And so my posts or my asks are usually a couple weeks before the climb, during the climb, and then the donations open a number of weeks afterwards. And so oftentimes I'll use the excuse, hey, we've won the Law Firm Challenge Trophy for 9 years. I really don't want to lose it. So you need to help us keep it by donating. So, just, again, if you can get a friendly competition, this year with the climb being in our Milwaukee office, we're going to have a Milwaukee climb team. And my law partner, Dan Long, who I already mentioned, he loves competitions. And so we'll probably have a friendly competition between Milwaukee and Indy. Even though I think they have 10 times as many of employees, we're going to try and compete to see what we can do. So you do it in a way you don't want to put somebody on the spot, but you also may want to trigger, oh, that's a good reason to give my hard-earned money to a great organization. And one thing that Tanya always mentions and the Lung Association mentions, there's a lot of charities out there. And I think the Lung Association, it's a high percentage of donations actually goes to the research and the benefits. And so giving them those statistics will help somebody donate to us rather than somebody else.
One of the things that I think of is how on social media we can miss things all of the time. So I like to treat every message like it's the first time that someone is reading something. So I keep it very positive. I keep it non-specific, and I just say, if you want to donate, please do. And I saw in the chat that someone said, what is some of the language that you use to have people join your team? For me, I make it really about fun. I just say, if you want to join, if you want to have fun, I'll let people know what the team name is. I'll let them know what the theme is this year. I'll add a couple of pictures from the past, just so that people can see that it really is fun and that we're not struggling and miserable. But just the biggest thing for me is knowing that every time I share, I seem to have 1 or 2 more people donate than before. And a lot of people have said, this is the first time I'm seeing this. Thanks for sharing it. So some people, as I know Sheila said, may get kind of annoyed with your efforts, but for others, they may not live on their phone, and this might be the first time that they're seeing something.
Great points, Mandy. Thank you. And Kelly, I want to read the chat that you just put in there, because I think that's so key. Is Kelly has said that she finds sending personalized emails to family and friends is very successful. And she sends 2 emails, one at the beginning of the campaign and then one at the final week. So that cadence is good as well. So, well, everyone, we are coming up at time. So I just want to kind of wrap things up and certainly give a huge shout out and a huge thank you to all of our speakers who joined us. And that would be Joel, Sheila, and Mandy. Thank you so much. And we had a lot of great folks who worked hard in putting this together. And I want to acknowledge them as well. Julie and Dana, as well as Tammy, Terry, Timmy, Christina, and Margaret, and of course Heather Johnson as well. So thank you so much. These are our local Fight for Air Climb staff members, and this is a member from each one of our markets. So look at your state that's noted there, and make certain that you know who these people are. Reach out to them if you have any questions or you need assistance with building your corporate team or your friends and family team. You need some help on Facebook, whatever it might be. Just know that we are a resource for you. We're here to help and make you successful, because what that does, it helps us meet our mission. So we hope the Climb Huddle has given you insight on how to take your climb to new heights. Thanks, everyone.